Hello and welcome to Dad Bods and Bad Attitudes. We are your hosts. I'm Christopher Sommella, and of course, I'm joined by Mark Davis. And today we have two very special guests. This is our first time having three guests on the show at the same time, along with me. We're joined today by Ronnie Murchinson-Rivera, who is running for Congress in Florida's District 6. What's up, Ronnie? Thank you for joining us. We're doing great. That's very low key, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Usually you're a little bit more outgoing with your responses.
Oh, got to turn my volume up a little bit. It's a momentum.
We've been talking off camera for 20 minutes, and now we finally turned up his volume. We're also joined by Marialana Kinter, who is running in Florida's House District number 7. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You have the distinction of being the first lady to be on the Dad Bods and Bad Attitudes show. And how do you feel about that?
It's an honor, truly. I'm so very glad and privileged. You guys can't say that anymore.
That's right. It's one and done. You're the first. And, I had a feeling you might say it's an incredible honor because really it's nothing special whatsoever. But let's get to the show. We've got Mark Davis here, my co-host, my partner in crime, who's got a number of topics for debate, discussion today. And we're also going to get to know these two candidates, which is really important. That's really what I'd like to accomplish today, is to talk to these two Democratic candidates who are running for U.S. House of Representatives. But Mark, I turn it over to you. Why don't you get right into what you'd like to talk about to start the show?
Yeah, so appreciate having you both on. I think Marialana, we kind of connected through threads and we've seen each other through there. And Ron, we're starting to see each other on threads and communicate back and forth. So it's awesome that you guys are able to get on here and face to face and, that we're able to just 7 o'clock at night, just gather 3 potential Florida congressional Congress people, right? And kind of talk about what's happening in Florida and talk about our campaigns and what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. So just really appreciate you guys being on here. Maybe I can learn something from you and, we can all just kind of share our successes. But first, Ronnie, I was actually initially running in District 6 is where I was going to initially run, and I filed and everything. And I was going to go against Randy Fine specifically, just because he's just this crazy, character. And Josh Wheel, I think that's how Josh Wheel, he did pretty well in District 6 during that special election. So I was just going to kind of ride the wave of that. And then I was kind of talked out of it rightly so, by my campaign manager to focus on the actual district that I live in, because it just doesn't make sense, to run in a different district that you live in most of the time. But anyway, it ended up being the right choice for me. But anyway, I don't know, Ronnie, are you still getting any kind of messages like is Mark running in your district or any kind of confusion there?
Well, first, let me turn up my volume a little bit. Well, I surely appreciate you because I wouldn't want to go against you. I think we need to stick together in this thing and take out 3 different districts instead of balloting for one. Yeah, I get it a lot. People ask me, and I'm like, I think he moved over to another district. But then it died down after they started looking on the website. They look at, I guess, Ballotpedia that showed, and it moved you over to, to where you were going now. So after that, people stopped asking.
Okay, cool. Yeah, if you notice anything or need any help making sure that we've made that transition, just let me know if you're seeing something. I can set the story straight there. But
before you guys got on, I was sharing a quick funny anecdote with Mark that I put into ChatGPT. I said, "Who is running against Randy Fine this year?" And it spat out, some of the Republican primary contenders, and then it said the Democratic opponents. And Ronnie was first. I gave a list of 5 people. Said Ronnie, who's a police officer, a guy named James, pastor, Eric, realtor, a guy named Robert, Marine veteran. And then it said Mark Davis, podcast host.
Well, I was first. Thanks, DEI.
Yes, you were. You were first. Yeah.
Did you say DEI?
I said, thanks, DEI.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But podcast host made me laugh because he just started doing this podcast with me, and
Yeah.
somehow that got out into the ether, and now the GPT thinks he's a podcast host.
We're
So that's
certainly
funny.
not making any money off of it. So
No, not
yeah.
doing that.
So yeah, but and then Marialana, your district was Republican as well, right? Before this, before you stepped in, you're gonna turn it. But how many points negative are you? Do you know?
It's R+5.
R+5. Okay, so
You got it. No big deal.
yeah. So that's not bad. What's your R, Ronnie? 14. Okay. Yeah, mine's 10. So yeah, we all got some work to do. So Marialana, what got you excited to run? I mean, in a district where where all of us, right, could just sit back and not do anything. What was your turning point to step up and do something in Florida?
So as I was getting closer to getting out of the Navy, which we've talked previously about my military history and military experience, my husband already lived down here. I was up in New York, stationed in New York City and Long Island. So I was coming down every weekend. We knew we were going to be spending our life here. The more close I got to getting out and transitioning into the political world, the more off the rocker our political setup got. The more extreme Corey Mills got in his dialogue and behaviors and actions. And so originally I thought I would enter into the political sphere on a much more local level. And closer I got to getting out. And then when I got out, started working in a research lab, got doged, and I took it as an immediate sign to jump straight in, because unless someone steps up and fix it, we're just going to keep doing the same thing in the political campaigns, in the political representation. We will just keep repeating the same cycle unless someone puts their neck on the line and does it.
Okay. And you said you got doged? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I did. I worked with Veterans to Energy, previously Veterans to Naval Careers, and they placed veterans who worked in nuclear power in the military with research positions near them while they used their veterans benefits. So I was working in a research lab at UCF through this program, and during the big Doge cuts, the government efficiency cuts, they cut a good portion of the veterans who were hired through this program, including myself.
Yeah.
But I thought, hang on though, Marialana, I thought that the Trump administration loved its veterans.
There's nothing more wasteful than renewable energy and veteran employment. That's what I've learned from the Doge cuts.
Right. Oh, okay.
Primarily.
So Elon and Big Balls were able to train you on the facts, which are what you just said, that nothing is more wasteful than, and more rampant with, what is it? Waste, fraud, and abuse than renewable energy and employing veterans. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. We wouldn't want to do those things.
Oh, so did I hear right that you're married?
Me, I am married. I've been with my husband going on 8 years together and coming up on 6 years married.
So how did that work out for you as far as telling your husband that you were interested in running for Congress? I have, obviously my own story with my spouse, but how's he taking it? How's that whole relationship going?
He is a trooper, let me tell you, because he's also a very private, reserved person.
Mhm.
And there is no privacy and there is no reservation in politics, as we all know. And he knew well before, because the day I got out of the military, I became politically active. He knew it was coming. He knew it was happening. He luckily sees eye to eye with me on topics. It'd be a big issue if he didn't. And so he knew it was happening. He knew it was coming. When I broached the topic to him, he was like, I knew this. I knew this was happening.
Yeah.
And he is fantastic. It is not easy, as I'm sure your wife knows.
Mhm.
And I could not be luckier.
Yeah, and especially in Florida, coming out and being vocal and being visible. What about you, Ronnie? What was your spark? I think we all have our spark of kind of what. Anyway, maybe not, but mine was the Trump 2.0 administration was my spark. Before that, I don't think I'd ever run for Congress. But then when I saw this administration kind of start to turn fascist and do things that are completely backwards of our norms, right? So what was your spark to get involved?
Well, so I was born in New York City, right? I come from a very democratic state. I've been down here in Florida about 10 years already. And it's a very different atmosphere. Just tell you that right now.
Mhm.
But up north, I did help with a couple campaigns and everything like that. And, I wasn't deep into politics. I can let you know that Fine pushed that button.
Yeah.
I mean, as I told
Mhm.
you guys before, I'm a father. Me and my wife been together since we were juveniles, basically 13 and 15.
Mm,
And now we're 35 and 33. They're still going strong. 5 children, foster parents. We accept family members. We started a nonprofit in New York City to help out homeless veterans and people that need EBT. Like, we are a very giving back person. And, there was other things that Walsh did that I was like, what the hell is this guy doing?
mm,
And then Randy Fine took over. And
Mhm.
it's just from that point forward, he just grind my gears. But the moment he told those kids in Gaza to starve and die,
mhm,
that was my
Yeah.
tip.
yeah.
Ain't no way you can bring innocent children into your political fucking nightmare
Yep.
and expect anybody to be okay with that. And then, yeah, that ticked me off. I talked to a few people, and very funny story. I was going through my phone, and I was just so mad. And it was like, I literally saw an ad that said, do something about it. And then like a couple of pages later, it said, run for office. I'm like, okay, God.
Yeah, I mean, you got a monster down there, Ronnie. I mean, you got Randy Fine. He is disgusting. I don't know what everybody else thinks about him.
Like I said
Listen,
before, you being nice.
I said earlier to Ronnie, I said the guy's a scumbag, and I can say that, and I don't have any reservations about saying the guy's a scumbag. And he said I was being polite. And when you look at the history of comments by this guy, they're nothing short of appalling. It's literally some of the worst shit that could ever be uttered out of a human's mouth. That's the kind of guy he is. And I happen to know someone who went to school with him and graduated from Harvard with him, and this individual who is fairly well known in Florida politics said, "Oh, he just says that to get a rise out of people." I don't give a fuck. You just don't say this stuff. I mean, he said, let those children starve. He said, nuke the city. Like, it's beyond the pale. There are no words really that are adequate for how low this individual is capable of sinking if he wants to just get a rise out of someone or if he really believes it. I don't give a shit. To me, there's no difference between if you believe it or you're just willing to say it. They're equally appalling, and he's got to be taken down. So we need to replace his fat ass, as Mark and I would say, his fat Nazi ass has to be replaced with someone with any sense of humanity at all. We could have like a garbage dumpster full of roadkill would be a better congressman than him. So that's just me opining.
So what do you think, Ronnie? Do you think people are seeing that in your district?
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, people call him worse things than Chris just said. I
Mhm.
mean, it's the truth, and it's his own party members. Like they were like, they were like, why did I vote for this guy? I'm like, you tell me. Like you knew the piece of shit he was when he was state senator. It's all on the news. It's all in the newspaper. They kicked him out of Brevard County, and now he's up here. I was just in Palm Bay the other day doing a video shoot, talking with some of the residents down there, and they was like, we don't understand how Florida 6th District could vote that guy in. We kicked him out of our county. We kicked him out,
Right.
and it's not me. And he's still living in Brevard County. That's what blows my mind. Like you said, Mark, you switched over from the 6th District to where you at now because you want to represent where you live at. This guy don't live here. He lives
That's
two
right.
and a half hours away from the nearest county line in
That's
his
right.
district. Like that's my first red flag. It's like whatever you do in our district don't directly affect you or your family. You
Mhm.
shouldn't be representing us. Period.
Agreed. Yep. Yeah,
And
that
you
that
were
was
going,
that was a huge mistake for my campaign. Initially, was trying to even think that I could run in a different district, and looking back, a satellite representation just doesn't make sense, because I love going back and forth throughout my district and being able to see all the different places and being able to meet people, in just the grocery store and knowing that we're all in the same community, so I mean that itself, let alone all of his crazy rhetoric and his bad for the country divisive talk. I mean that itself should be a disqualifier in my opinion. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and I wanted to, Mark, I think I wanted to kind of frame it like this, which is, and I don't want to dwell on a negative. So I really want to allow both of these candidates the opportunity to tell us about themselves and what makes them uniquely qualified for the positions they're running for. But I think we ought to frame it for the people viewing at home that these two individuals in neighboring districts, they're both abhorrent individuals. They're terrible people, objectively speaking, bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
Corey Mills is also a piece of trash. The controversies that follow this guy around it's a laundry list. I'll just say that, and I have it here, and we can get into it. Marialana, I want to ask you, you had your moment as to what prompted you. You got doged to start running. What is your opinion of, and what's your viewpoint on how your district is being represented now by Corey Mills?
The shortest answer is very poorly, very, very poorly. He is not representing anything in our district besides his own self-interest. He is barely local at all. He has a house out here, and that's about it. He is not present. And I'm the first to say, because I technically live 1 mile out of district. My grocery store's in district, my nephew's soccer team, my gym. I live 1 mile out of district because previously it was cut, and I always include that because of the fact that I never want any lack of transparency, especially
Right.
because right now the representative is so convoluted in transparency. It's so corrupt. He's being investigated for a number of things, and all of them have to do with the fact that there is no integrity. There is no transparency in his representation. It is solely a personal gain benefit of his representation of anyone in Florida right now.
There's
It just
reporting
boils
that
down to
says, pardon me for interrupting, there's reporting that says he was renting a house in Maryland for $20,000+ a month. Were you aware of that?
I was, because of the fact that he ended up between $50,000 and $70,000 behind in rent, allegedly because
Right.
of the news.
Yeah. I got the whole litany here of controversies for one, Corey Mills. If I may read these off, it will only take a moment. Protective order for dating violence and threats of revenge porn. Police domestic assault investigation. Ethics committee investigation. That's in the House. Campaign finance and disclosure questions. Federal contract conflicts. Lots of self-dealing with this Corey Mills, and military record scrutiny. Apparently, among other things, he was also witnessed to be cavorting with sex workers in the country of Georgia by associates. So the guy is not a great guy. And to the point that, Ronnie was making, even if he was not an appalling person, he's not even anywhere near the district. So both of these guys, they fail in every respect for what you would want as a representative in your community. They're not there. Number one, they don't care about the community. Number two, and then they're just objectionable people. So that it doesn't work. And I think new representation's in order. And I'm glad to have you guys on here so we can hear from you guys. Mark, do we want to allow them to kind of each have an opportunity to tell us about themselves and their unique qualifications?
Yeah, let's break it down.
Marialana, why don't you go first and just, you mentioned that you were a Navy veteran. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. So I joined the Navy at 17, straight out of high school. 10 days after high school graduation, I was in Navy boot camp. And the reason I joined is because of how I was raised. I was the youngest of 4 kids. We were raised by a single mom. We spent time in the foster care system. My dad passed away when I was 5 years old, but he was a horrible, abusive person to my mother for a good majority of my childhood. And after he passed, we relied on Medicaid free school lunches because she had to take care of 4 children on her own. And I graduated in Charlotte, North Carolina. Throughout high school, I had 2 jobs simultaneously. Joined the Navy like most people who do because they're looking for stability, advancement to better their lives. And they are believing in that's the option. And it absolutely was for me. I joined as a nuclear mechanic, worked my way up to be a nuclear reactor plant supervisor, served for 8.5 years, spent time on the USS Nimitz to include the longest ship deployment since the Cold War, which was 341 days. And then New York City and Long Island as a nuclear field liaison for the entire nuclear program out there, and medically retired in December of 2024 after 8.5 years.
That is pretty impressive, Mark. You were a lowly airman. What do you think about that?
I feel like I need to
Right in the gut.
I should have stood at attention that whole time. She was
Yeah, you should have stood at attention is right. Marialana, that's thank you for the background. It's a tremendous resume, even for a short period of time. That's a tremendous accomplishment. I'm sure your mom is incredibly proud of you. Give me something cool and unusual you wouldn't that a regular schmo like me wouldn't know about a nuclear reactor supervisor.
They're way younger than you think. At 18, I was picked up as an instructor training 27, 30-year-olds with master's degree in upstate New York. The people who are operating warships and operating the reactor plants on them are much, much younger than you think. 18, 22. And it's a whole team of just young 20-year-olds
Should we
operating
be
the
scared
most.
shitless of that fact, or no?
No, they're on top of it. They're doing
Good,
good things out there.
good, good. And you were on the Nimitz, which is a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, right?
Yes, oldest in the fleet. Oldest operational nuclear aircraft carrier in the fleet. Some nuclear or some history buff's going to be like, well, actually, the Constitution.
The finger wave.
Got it. And how was your hearing after being on an aircraft carrier for 341 days?
What'd you say?
Yeah, I have a different
That's not the
excuse for
joke,
not
by the
hearing
way.
anything. That's awesome. And give us just a little bit more color, around that. I know you mentioned that you've been married for 6 years. You gave us your naval background, which is tremendous. Tell us something about like what motivates you. Why would you be a great candidate in District 7 in Florida?
Most blunt answer I could possibly give is because these aren't abstract issues. I'm not renting a $20,000 penthouse in DC. The working class struggle has been my struggle since I was a child. The same things that ruled my childhood, my adolescence, and the time I spent in the Navy are the same problems every single person in Central Florida in the 7th District is facing on the day-to-day. These aren't talking points. I didn't come from prestigious heritage. These were the exact same struggles I lived. And so it's a personal fight. It's not a fight to be a representative and earn a seat. It's a fight to make a difference in all of our lives.
Yeah, that's awesome. Not another Harvard grad coming in to get handouts and enrich themselves. I've seen what Corey. I don't know that Corey Mills is a Harvard grad. I can actually pull that info pretty quickly, but I mean, his entire protocol has been to enrich himself with his defense companies that he has and uses to. I suppose he has these government contracts to provide weapons and munitions to the prison system, as I understand it, or private prisons. And I could have some of the nuance there wrong, but that's more or less what's going on. Are you interested in making yourself filthy rich by starting up some kind of private nuclear reactor company and then funneling contracts to yourself?
0% chance, especially with the cuts that the federal government's doing to nuclear reactor safety.
Well, that's good.
0% chance.
Mm. What do you
Yeah.
guys what do you guys think about term limits? It just let me hear what your thoughts are on term limits.
We needed those green and red signs, immediately green sign. Personal preference, no more than 4. I would sign legislation for 4. My personal belief is I would not serve more than 3 terms. 6 years, I think, is an appropriate amount. It's supposed to be the most dynamic office we have. It needs to be changing. You need to be constantly training your replacement. 4 terms, 8 years.
Yeah.
I agree.
What do you think, Marcel?
My same answer. I think 4 to 6 terms. New blood. I don't want Chuck Schumer at 75 years old to be running in 2040. Give it up. Your time has passed. Time for the new blood to take care of their own future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's,
Yeah.
Mark, if I could weigh in on that, just my personal opinion is the world would be because as we go, the world goes. The world would be a lot different place if, number one, you had term limits on
Mhm.
everything, including judges,
Mhm.
age limits as appropriate, something that probably needs to be determined what that is. No money in no campaign advertising. I hate to say it. No private money, no corporate money, and no Citizens United where corporations are people. If you take out all of those things and all the dark money and all that shit, you have a vastly different country right now, and we're not going through what we're going through every day here.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
And then the question is like, how do you get there, right? How do you ever get to a Congress that isn't run by the Good Boys Club or people that are in it for ever, and people that are in it for the wrong reasons? How do you know who those people are?
Ms. Kinter and Mr. Murchinson-Rivera and people like them. That's how we do it. That's it. That's the only answer to it is people of genuine good faith have to replace the people that like Corey Mills, who's trying to enrich himself, and Randy Fine, who is a demagogue, to be honest. So
Mhm.
that's what we have to do.
Mhm.
Start there.
In order to have that political narrative. We need to get money out of politics, or the narrative will never advance if it's controlled by those special interests. It won't.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, to
100%.
go
And
above that, before we get the money out of politics, we got to get the tunnel cut off, and that's from those big corporations that's allowed to funnel money in. That's
Yeah.
exactly what's happening. They passing these bills to funnel money to the corporations and back into their pockets.
right. And they're just bribes.
Yep.
And you call them what they are. They're bribes. So Ronnie, tell us about yourself. You gave us a little background earlier that you're married for many years, have 5 children. You're a foster parent at times, but just tell us a little bit more about yourself and your background and why you're a great fit to represent District 6.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys already know that I was born and raised in New York City. I was actually born in Brooklyn. My mother wasn't a single parent, but we were struggling. Times was hard. I lived in the projects growing up. I mean, sometimes we eat noodles out of a plastic bag. I mean, we came from that environment, and I'm probably one of the first kids in like 3 generations that graduated from college. That's how hard the struggle is. And I always wanted to make a change. Always wanted to make a change. My whole life was dedicated to the people. In New York, I was a EMT for almost 12 years, and that's just certified. I mean, before that, I was a teenager volunteering at these volunteer ambulance corps since 12 years old. And I always wanted to make a difference in people's life. And that's why me and my wife started that nonprofit. You know, the goal was to start a free ambulance service in New York City to help people who couldn't afford it. But as you're saying, we just talked about money, right? The big corporations that get for-profit ambulance companies voted me down and didn't give me a certificate to operate because they believed I was going to trample over their profit. And I was just doing that the kindness of, somebody don't call an ambulance because they're having a heart attack because they don't want their insurance bill to be $20,000 is wrong. But they put money over people again. But we still continued. We continue to do community things. We moved to Florida because of family reasons on my wife's side. And I wanted to do something different. I know I wanted to give back to the community like I always have been doing, but I wanted to give back in a different way. And that's when I went into law enforcement. I wanted to show people that not all law enforcement officers are bad. I mean, you see what you're seeing on the news because it's the breaking news of the day. That's what happened. But they don't really show law enforcement doing kind things. And I wanted to be that change. And when I go campaigning, I tell people all the time, I've been in law enforcement for almost 9 years. Never tased anybody, never pepper sprayed anybody, never shot anybody. I talk to them. But 98% of people call 911 because they just need somebody to just talk to. And that's where I'm running on this platform again because, like I told you, my reasoning, I call not Corey Mills, piece of crap, Mike Walls. I called his office beginning because my house got destroyed by the hurricane. I needed somebody to be there for me. And this officers kept saying, we'll reach out to FEMA and call you back. Click. 5 kids in a destroyed house, sleeping in a house with no power. No, my insurance company's running around trying not to pay me, although they already got their full premium for the year. They're not trying to pay me what I'm rightfully entitled to, right? And so I'm like, hey, help me. 4, 5, 6 times. Well, nothing. And then took a year and a half to get that money. Guess what? Hurricane Milton comes, destroying my house again. I call reached out to his office again, same thing. And then fine took over. And, I can at least say with Walls, I at least got through on the phone, At least somebody picked up and said, hey, we'll try. Fine is like nothing. Go to his office, slam the door in your face. And I'm like, damn, this is how you treat the people that you're supposed to serve? And that just tipped me off. And that's when I started looking into politics. And then with the children thing, that just boosts my gears. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to just serve people. I mean, I think those positions that we put those people in are meant to serve us. And if you're not doing that, your number one thing, and you're going to serve at the bend the knee at the president, I think you got to go.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think both your stories are fantastic, and I think that's what Congress needs is just regular people with regular stories, that aren't looking to set up camp in Congress forever, right? That have real issues right now that they're passionate about, that they're willing to go to Congress and run through walls for, right? That's what Congress needs. And Randy Fine is a freaking mess, but Vern Buchanan in my district, he's 75 years old, and he's worth like $900 million, and he lives on a private island. And yeah, they
Private island.
yeah, well, not a private island, but right off the Siesta Key. But
He's a regular Gilligan, huh?
yeah, yeah. But these people have they can't relate to us, the people that are right in the middle. Are you Marialana, are you seeing any cracks yet from people that were Trump supporters that are no longer Trump supporters, or voted for Trump a couple times, or voted Are you seeing any cracks that people are willing to switch parties or vote for a Democrat?
Absolutely. I'm seeing a lot of cracks in the loyalty to Corey Mills in specific, because people are seeing blatantly the corruption that's going on and the fact that he's not invested in the working class problems at all and is out of touch with reality. And between getting them in my email, meeting people in the streets every day and talking to them, and then people reaching out in the veterans community. I'm part of multiple veterans group, the Veterans for Foreign Wars, multiple pro-peace veterans organizations as well, and I'm seeing it every day. People will come to me, I'm a registered Republican, but what can I do to help? Because this is beyond that. We need change.
Yeah. What are those
Wow.
Republicans or right-leaning people, what are they saying are the issues that finally push them over the line with Trump? Because I'm getting similar feedback too.
The most long-lasting, the first ones I was seeing, it's changed over the last couple of months with our ramp up in militarization, but previously it was the blatant use of corruption and funding tax dollars, our American tax dollars, into everything but American citizens. It is not an American first approach. It's not making America great again when we're sending billions of dollars overseas to fund things that don't do anything for Americans here, starving children here, homeless veterans here. That was the first thing I saw. That's the first thing I heard. And then after that, the blatant forms of cryptocurrency bribing. That was in fall time when that billionaire thing happened. And then we were seeing that with cryptocurrency, and people were upset about the blatant forms of bribes and the lack of willingness to regulate cryptocurrency contributions. And most recently, it's been the ramp up in militarization from people who are voting on things that affect our sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, our family members in the armed forces, by people who are not weighing those people's lives, and the fact that people are at complete disposal of the military with the respect it deserves and respecting the actual law associated with it.
Yeah. But what about you? I mean, because I had a lunch with a 3-time Trump supporter, and he was just like you were saying, he was just tired of the corruption, and he thought of America first meant you're going to invest in America, and then you see billions of dollars go to Argentina, and then you see all of a lot of our resources used in Venezuela, and now Greenland. Like that confuses people, and people are kind of scared, I think, right now that, okay, we knew Trump was kind of this outlaw, wild guy, and we kind of hoping he was fighting for us, but now you realize that he just fights for the sycophants that are around him. You're right.
Absolutely.
And I mean, what are you seeing that too, Ronnie? When people are saying,
absolutely.
"Hey, I'm a diehard Republican, but God help us."
Absolutely. Both of you guys' points are what we all hearing, because that's what the whole party as a whole was believing. And now they finally opening their eyes and saying, man, is this guy really what we thought he is? I mean, a lot of people was like, the corruption is bad. I thought, like you said, American first, but we sending billions of dollars overseas where you have starving children for how many days when the government was shut down? And you have red states that's supposed to be American first, not feeding those families, not feeding those children. But they see blue states stepping up and saying, well, if Trump don't want to help out, I'm going to protect my people.
Right.
And then for our governor to say, we're not going to help, we're going to wait till the government open, they open their eyes and say, golly, I thought we were supposed to be the people first, American first. And they're seeing it. They're starting to open their eyes.
One thing that my campaign has done previously is food drives and clothing drives. And I make it a big point to say the donations go to anybody in the community who needs it through nonprofit organizations. It is not partisan. And I had a lot of Republicans donating to it, even though I am a registered Democrat running a Democratic candidacy, because of the fact that they hadn't seen that in a while. And then I've heard from people who picked up those food items and picked up the clothing items from nonprofits. They were Republicans. They were Democrats. because the problems are not partisan that are affecting everybody in Central Florida.
Yeah. So that brings up an interesting point. So with Republicans potentially getting tired of Trump is a good thing, right? But does that actually relate to voting down ticket in the midterms, right? How does that actually relate? Are people willing to give up party because of Trump and they're seeing this stuff? Are there any policies that you are a diehard on just because of your beliefs that you're willing to lose voters for, Republicans for?
Not really.
Yes.
Well, I, not really. I mean, what can we lose? If they're already so far right that they won't come to a common ground with us, there's nothing we can lose. I'm just saying, if you're not willing to come and meet me at the table and say, okay, I'll give you a little bit of this and you give me a little bit of that, and we come to a common ground. If they're not willing to even sit down at the table, it's fair game. Like I tell people nowadays that you can try to talk to these Republicans, but if they already have their mind made up and they full MAGA, you can try, but I won't go as far. I tell people every day that Florida is only 41% registered Republicans. The rest is independents and Democrats. And like I told you guys before, walking through a street campaigning, she was listening to Newsmax. I tried to talk to her and I tracked her just by saying my background in law enforcement. And the first thing she said was, I thought Democrats hated cops. Well, there you go. There's a lot of Democrats who are law enforcement officers, and you just listening to what you want to listen to. We don't hate guns. We just want to regulate it. I don't want to wake up one day while I'm working or doing whatever to a phone call that my son or my daughter has been killed in school because we didn't regulate it. Well, you don't regulate DUI. Yes, we do. You get into a DUI, guess what? There's thousands of dollars in fees. There's a breathalyzer you have to do before you start your car. There's, schooling you have to go through. Those are all regulations that laws have been implemented after somebody has did something wrong, right? We do all those for that, but we can't do anything for this. And so, yeah, I'm not willing to give up nothing if they're not willing to at least come to the table and talk.
Right.
What about you, Marialana?
I would agree that I would prefer people come to the table and talk. I have to recognize as a district that has a high percentage of Republicans and was previously Republicans, I have to represent everybody in the district's best interest. But there are things that I am not willing to compromise on. And I believe that was the question you were asking. Is that right, Mark?
Yeah.
There absolutely are the marriage equality, people's ability. We are the land of the free, and I absolutely love our American freedom. When you go and look at my stances, the majority of them are a pro-freedom approach. We are the land of the free. People fought valiantly so that we earned that title. And that includes the freedom to be in a relationship with a consenting adult, with whoever you love.
Mhm.
And so for me, that is a enormous one. Regulating and implementing gun safety requirements is a big one. I don't believe the gun thing, as Ronnie just said, it's been convoluted to an all or nothing debate, and it's just not an all or nothing debate. That just completely polarizes it. We need safe gun practices. We need education. We need subsidized and incentivized programs that allow people, normal working class people who own guns, to also own guns safely. The normal person can't afford a $30,000 gun safe. They simply can't.
Can I interject real quick? So this is a really good point because let me ask you, Marialana, are you a gun owner or?
I'm not currently a gun owner.
Okay. But you were in the military and you handled guns. I was in the military. Ronnie, you were a police officer, obviously handled weapons. Probably a gun owner, I'm assuming now, right?
Mhm.
We are all pretty, and I'm a gun owner myself. Chris, I don't know if you're
Listen, I had a water pistol, Mark,
Yeah,
okay,
that's cool.
when I was a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Nice, dude. Was it the Super Soaker or just the
It's a little after my time. You remember the little plastic clear
Oh,
one, right?
yeah, the ones
That
always
looked like a 9mm or something? Yeah, that's what they let me get close to. Anything beyond that, no.
But I have a safe. I have guns. I like going to the gun range. I just think that conversation has become so far right that any pushback to that is a radical idea.
Well, Mark, their strategy, just if I can opine on Republican strategy, you know what it is. It's to basically throw grenades into the middle to explode it out so that any positions that are taken on any topic of any debate are over here and all the way over here. So
Mhm.
everything is destroyed in the middle. So there's no nuance. There's never any nuance to any discussion of any kind, right? If you support abortion, you're a baby killer. That's it. There's no consideration ever given to just the life of a mother, health, exigent circumstances, you know, other sort of mitigating fact. They don't give a shit. They don't care because they don't think through anything. They don't think it through anything until it affects them. That's the fact. That's just normal Republican thinking. That's the thought process that they go through, unfortunately. And they've been trained to think that way by watching Fox News for the past 30 years. That's that's the poison that's been injected into our veins. So that's my opinion on the matter. I don't speak for these candidates, but that's what I think. And Mark, you and I've talked about it before, and you see it all the time. You're trying to go. I've seen your posts. You try to really engage the public, and you're seeing that if people are provided the information, they don't necessarily, not everybody rejects everything wholesale what you're saying, because I think that you also take a measured approach, and I think that you are willing to have an open dialogue with people. You've given me a couple examples over recent days in our conversation. So people have to be willing to hear each other, and not just look at what's going on in social media. But the circumstances outside are getting dire. If we don't get some change in Congress soon, it's probably the only check we have against the lunatic that is running the country and his executive fascist regime, if I could just call it that.
Yeah. It's almost like there's this weird dynamic between what people actually believe when you have a one-on-one
Uh-huh.
conversation with people and you break it down and then they start shaking their head and they're like, "Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, a little gun regulation does make sense." But then like the next day they'll see a meme or something that says anybody that pushes back on gun regulations is a Nazi or something, right? And then their opinions back to normal, right? It's like you just erase that whole conversation with all the nuance that you're talking about. I don't know. Have you guys had any success talking to MAGA and breaking through? And
I was just about to say the majority of people that I talk to in district, one of their first questions is the gun safety question. And as soon as I state my opinion, they're like, whoa, up in arms, wait a minute. And then I explain it and the fact that we can incentivize gun safety and it is not an all or nothing debate. And most people actually genuinely agree. They're like, oh, incentivizing the gun population so that we can have trained individuals and safety regarding it, but we still get to own guns. And it's like, absolutely. Children don't need to have guns. And people are like, wait, I agree with that. And we end up
Yeah.
coming to a mutual place, but it starts with hearing each other out.
Marialana, that's a shocking position you're taking. Children shouldn't have guns?
Yeah. It just seems like the loudest or the most polarized sometimes, but most normal people would agree with it.
Yeah, totally. Mark, before we wrap up, you had a game you wanted to play.
all right, man. All
You want
right,
to do this?
let's do this. All right. So I guess it's all three of you, and whoever wins.
But we don't have a buzzer.
Huh?
We don't have a buzzer.
I think Ronnie's going to win since they're all Randy Fine related. You
Right.
better win.
Right.
Yeah,
So
why
this
why don't we do this? Why don't you ask me and I'll use Ronnie as my lifeline?
There you go.
Ronnie, if you lose, I'm running in District 6.
all right. Explain that again. So who's playing?
I'll play and
Okay.
Ronnie will be my lifeline. And
Okay.
and the stakes are, if he flubs this, Marialana will take over. She's going to run in both spots. How about that?
All right. Perfect. All right. So is this real or is this fake? The craziest shit that did Randy Fine really do this? Okay. So he called for helping starvation in Gaza until hostages were released.
He called for continuing
He
to
called for
starve people.
starving people in Gaza until hostages were released.
Yeah, he did say that.
He did. Oh, wait a minute. How are we going to do this? You can't just say
I'm
it.
keeping Marialana. Do you want to keep track as the objective arbiter of this game here?
She's
I have
playing.
one.
Yes.
What are you talking about? She's a player.
No, I'm the player.
You're the only player?
Yes, you didn't follow the instructions I just gave you. I just gave you the game.
You both were playing. Okay. Whatever. All right. Referred to a Muslim colleague as a Muslim terrorist.
A Muslim colleague?
Yeah.
So someone in Congress.
Yeah.
You know what? Yes.
Yeah. Omar.
Come on.
Yeah. Said Gaza must be destroyed in a social post.
That sounds like something he would say.
He did. He said political violence is never okay, regardless of the target.
Based on what I just heard, sounds like that's the fake one.
He would never. I don't think
He
would
would
ever.
never say that.
No.
Yeah, he must have said that to go along with the other insane shit he said.
Yeah, he did. He did say that.
How many? Do I have 5 right now?
I think you got them all right so far. Yeah, I think it's
Okay.
5. Yeah. Said mainstream Muslims should be destroyed first.
Mainstream Muslims should be destroyed first?
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep saying yes until you tell me he didn't say something.
Yeah.
Randy Fine hates freedom and the idea of it.
It's disgusting. This guy is a pig. Fat, sweaty pig. Like,
Meanwhile, we have a police, foster parent, nonprofit starter running against him.
oh, I mean,
Just like y'all know, he's running my campaign for me. It's just that bad. I post something, it's like blows up.
yeah. But dude,
Right,
he gives me chills, man. And he's like always sweaty, and he's like, I gotta fuck some shit up today. You know, whose life can I ruin today? It's like, what? We don't want you in Congress trying to fucking ruin people's lives. You want you there to help.
You know
people.
who he's like? He's like an evil Newman from Seinfeld.
Oh, dude, I don't know how anybody like. Could you imagine standing next to that guy? Just the smell of just hate and sweaty mess. Oh, anyway.
He's in one of the highest positions in the country. And if we said that, anything close to what he said, working at a McDonald's job, we'd be fired.
Oh,
If you listen, and that
We
goes.
say guns should be safely owned and not with children, and we're radicalists.
Yeah, right.
Right, but this guy says nuke a country, nuke a city specifically because of who's there.
Oh, no.
all right. So answer this one. Called for de-escalation in the Middle East publicly.
Clearly, he did not say that.
No. Introduced a bill to ban pride flags and other symbolic flags from government buildings.
I'm going to go with he did do that.
He did do that. Has apologized for any of his posts.
Clearly, he's not going to apologize.
No, he's not. And he called Palestinians animals.
I'm going to say he called Palestinians animals.
Yeah, I think you got them all right.
You got
So
everyone.
10 for 10 on, I didn't need my lifeline, Ronnie, but Ronnie was able to weigh in that Randy finds abhorrent social media posts and statements in Congress allow him, Ronnie, to, have all the fodder he needs to run a campaign. Ronnie is running his campaign for him.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
that's
not
go ahead.
and not just one part, like you just said, Mark. He's attacking everybody, race, gender, LGBTQ, like other countries. It's like
Religion.
he's not just attacking one thing. He's like uniting everybody for me to come to me and said, "Here."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like that's all of MAGA right now. They're all doing that. And they keep saying, oh, Trump is so great. I don't know if your incumbents are posting stuff on Facebook about how great Trump is and, they're accomplishing Trump's agenda, but it's been a very unpopular agenda, and people don't like what Trump's doing.
Mark, if we can wrap it up for this evening, I'd like to give each of the candidates opportunity for their closing remarks. Let's go to Ronnie first. Ronnie, what would you like to impart upon the viewers today with your last couple minutes on the show?
I'm gonna say something real brief. Wake up. Open your eyes. The time is now. The midterms is here. The last 2 years has been horrible. And we have a chance to step up and stop this guy in his tracks. Not only Randy Fine, but Trump. Most of his policies that he has signed into law has went through executive order. Right there to tell you guys a problem. That he's willing to circumvent the normal process of American democracy to push his own agenda. This guy is running a dictatorship. He's putting his name on every single building he can. We need to wake up. I need you guys to take a stance, get out on the pollings, because if we could take back the House and Senate and the midterms coming up, we can stop him dead in his tracks and try to at least fix some of the mess that he's made. And so I know a lot of people elected Randy Fine in because they was down about Trump being reelected. And I just want you guys to know, don't give up hope. We're here. We're fighting. We have been seeing it. Tennessee, look, I mean, she didn't win, but she flipped it from a 26 to a 6, 20 points.
Yeah.
And we can do this. We are only an R+14 district. Just push, just keep pushing and keep the hope alive, because you're the one that's going to fight back against this regime. Don't listen to what Randy Fine has said. I know he just said in the last couple of days that if you oppress the government, that you should be killed like that, Renee Good.
Yeah.
You got a constitutional right, and people like us four here in this stream is going to stand up for you and back you every single day.
And Ron, where can people learn more about you?
I'm all over social media. Ron for Congress is my web address. It's RON, the number 4 Congress. But on my social media, it's the word FOR for Congress. Or you could just type in my name right here on Google, and you'll probably pop me up from all the good things I did in the community, from EMT to law enforcement to deputy sheriff.
Got it. And it's ron4congress.com?
Yes.
Great.
Love it.
Cool. And Marialana, why don't you take this opportunity to impart some wisdom and some, I think, you speak from the heart as well. I'd like to hear what you'd like to say as your closing remarks for today's show. Give you the last word.
No one's coming to save us. No one is coming to make sure your family has food, that you can afford your rent, that if you get sick, you have health care. No one is coming to save the United States or your family. If you want change, you have to choose it. We have to choose it every day with our community. We have to choose it in the midterms, and we have to choose to support the people who are going to bring it forward. We can have change, and we deserve change. We deserve someone who is going to fight for us, but it starts with every single one of us fighting for ourselves and amplifying the change together. No one's coming. We have to do it ourselves. And 2026 is the year that we can do that. We saw it, as Ronnie said, in previous elections. We have to do it. And you can find me at Kinter for Congress, kinterforcongress.com, Kinter for Congress on all social media, and that is FOR, the word.
All right. Dude, I'm freaking pumped right now, man. All right. So I'm gonna do what all the people on social media, if you're used to like social media comments and stuff, what they all do. But Kinter for Congress, I would vote for you if I lived in your district. And Ronnie for Congress, I would vote for you if I lived in your district. You guys freaking rock, man. So it's freaking cool that we're just normal people trying to get up to Congress and just get money out of Congress, get the corruption out of Congress. And, it doesn't have to be perfect. We just need to bring it back towards sanity, right? Where we can start having normal dialogue and normal back and forth and start moving our country forward rather than backwards. So, yeah.
That's awesome. And I'm incredibly inspired by these two as well, Mark. I say that sincerely. These are both very inspirational young people. They're not like this, we've been sold this bill of goods about coastal elites and all this shit that represent the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party has always been motivated from the bottom up. We're not order takers. We're doers. We do stuff. And we do it on the ground level, and we build and we create. Whereas, the MAGA movement, it's a cult of personality. It's one man, and he says what the, future of the country is going to be, the future of the party or whatever. We're not like that. I'm incredibly inspired by their stories, their humility, and the fact that they're both willing to put themselves out there. There's not a whole bunch of money behind them. These are regular people with regular people's stories, which are often tragic, and we all have a cross to bear and have been through, really been through, broken glass on bare feet in our lives. I know I have. It sounds like these two as well. And, I'm incredibly motivated by them. And if I were in any of their districts, I would vote for them. I am not. And, Mark, it's a good teaser. We should get some of the candidates from South Florida on our show, such as Bernard Taylor. I live right in his area, so we should look at getting him on the show as well. But anything else you'd like to add, Mark, before we close out the show?
No, just thank you both for coming on. I know it's getting late, and I know, Ronnie, you got a bunch of kids and families, so we'll let you guys get to it, but really appreciate it. I think it's special that we can do this at the drop of a hat, and we'll make sure to cut up these videos and get them out there for you guys, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you guys for having us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. Thank you for watching Dad Bods and Bad Attitudes. Stay tuned. More coming at you from our podcast over the next couple weeks. Peace.
Let's go.